Well, hello and welcome to Jumpstart Spring Organized. My name is Janet Taylor, and I am so excited to be here with you. And I would love for you to pop in the chat what country you're from or what part of the United States from. Please feel free to do that just to let me know where you're joining us from. And also, I want to let you know that this presentation is being recorded, so because you are here, you are going to get a copy of this recording. So tonight, I just want you to sit back. I want you to relax. I want you to just kind of take all the information in. But I also want you to feel free to pop things in the chat. And of course, you can send things directly to me, and I will only share your comment or your question. I won't share your identity, because sometimes I know people just want to ask questions, but they don't want everybody to know what their question is. So again, pop it in the chat where you are from. But also, I want to know what made you decide you needed to be here for Jumpstart the Spring Organized. So let's get started. So, for those of you who may not know who I am Janet M. Taylor. I have been organizing for over 30 years, people's homes, people's offices, people's lives. And the reason I wanted to feature this picture was because this is one of the highlights of my profession, is when I actually got to meet Peter Walsh, of course, and Rachel Ray too. But Peter Walsh, because he is one of the professional organizing gurus. So it was really nice and a wonderful opportunity to meet him. So I was excited about that as well. So tonight, I just want to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about planning and how it relates to just organizing and getting started on things, talking about how to master those time wasters, because that is key as well. Because a lot of times those time wasters sometimes prevent us just from being productive, effective, and efficient when we're trying to get things done. And of course, why we clutter. And questions to ask yourself as you're working through the things that you want to get rid of. Quick and easy ways to purge your stuff. And believe me, it's going to be quick and it's going to be easy ways. And of course, just how to maintain order. But also, I've got some wonderful resources at the end, some free resources, which I hope you will take advantage of, as well as questions and answers. So, again, let me know where you're from, but also, do you have any questions? Just start popping them in the chat. Oh, you're from the UK. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, from the UK, and you want to organize your house and, of course, yourself. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. But again, just continue throughout this evening just to let me know where you're from, but also what do you want to organize? And of course, if I say something that maybe sparks the need to ask a question, please feel free to do so, because I love answering your questions. I'm going over a lot of general stuff that can help you, but also I want you to be able to walk away with a strategy that you can actually use. So please feel free to do so. So let's get started. So, about the keys to planning. Planning really kind of takes two things. One, you got to have some routines, but also you have to master those time wasters. And the routines are the things that we do, whether we do them daily, weekly, monthly, seasonally, yearly. For example, you may have grown up in a household where there were certain days when there was cleaning done, there was cooking done, there was laundry done. And it's the same thing when we are thinking about maintaining order in our homes and our lives. Seasonally, we need to go through our closets. Maybe once a year, just go through that paperwork and get rid of the receipts and information that we don't need. And even just quarterly, just kind of scheduling some things, and maybe even weekly, shredding and scanning. But also, it's mastering the time wasters. And two of the biggest time wasters that there are is procrastination and perfectionism. And of course, as it relates to organizing is, of course, procrastination is you see that huge project ahead of you, and then all of a sudden you figure, you know what, it's a little overwhelming. There's something else that I could be doing. I don't even know where to start. But then with the perfectionism, you start thinking, I want to organize my closet, but I don't have hangers. Or I want to tackle that garage. I don't have the containers. Or I don't even have the pretty labels that I see on social media, on TV, etc. So it's really kind of creating a routine. It could be seasonally. You just kind of go through your closets. Once a year, you get rid of that paperwork. And of course, the time wasters in regards to procrastination and perfectionism. Procrastination is that you just kind of tackle biting off a little bit at a time. You don't have to organize the whole closet. Just by taking the clothes that you don't wear can help a lot. And of course, just kind of scheduling time. But establishing routines and eliminating time wasting activities is essential for effective planning as well as getting organized. So always remember that. So let's talk about mastering some time wasters. Understand how much each task will take. So with that, maybe you want to allocate 15 minutes to something, 20 minutes to something, 30 minutes to something, but also knowing how much time it may actually take. How much time, Janet, will it actually take for me to actually go through my closet? I can't really tell you that, but you know what? It may take, you may say, you know what? I can at least get rid of the clothes I don't wear maybe in an hour or two. And also in regards to how much time it'll take. If you really think something will take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, always double the time. You do that because psychologically it helps you. Because if you schedule 15 minutes for something and it takes 25 or 30, you feel like it might be all of a sudden overflowing into something else. You're going to get stressed, you're going to get anxious. But if you schedule 30 and it only takes maybe 15, 20 minutes, you feel really great. So think about that. Also think about prioritizing those important things. And the important thing when it comes to getting organized is, of course, getting rid of the stuff that you don't need. But not only getting rid of it, what will you do next? Now, some of the stuff is going to be trash, it's going to be recycled. But some of the stuff may be a donation, you may be giving it to something. But it's also prioritizing sometimes the areas that we want to work on as well. Because you may be here and saying, well, Janet, my entire house needs to get organized. And when you say that, then I always ask you the question, but which area is actually causing you the most stress? For some people, it could be that pile of shoes by the front door. For other people, it could be a kitchen counter. Maybe it's a bathroom counter. So think about that when it's in regards to organizing. What do I need to prioritize so I can relieve that stress? And of course, when you're eliminating those unnecessary distractions and interruptions, sometimes when we plan, and I always share with people to plan whatever it is you want to organize, making sure you do that so that that time is blocked out. If something comes up that's not an emergency, you can, plan it afterwards, plan it for another day, but you're focused. And then also sometimes it could be just focusing on one thing because the distractions and the interruptions sometimes can come when you're trying to just do too many things at once. So think about just focusing on the bedroom, focusing on the dining room table, focusing on the side table, and not getting distracted by all of the other things. And then the one tip that is really helpful is basically breaking things down into smaller tasks. You don't have to organize a closet in one day or even in an afternoon. You can always break it down. Take the clothes out that you don't wear. Once you do that, maybe work on another area, the shoes, but focus on the closet or maybe a bedroom. You're like, Janet, I need to organize my bedroom. Focus on the dresser, focus on the side tables, focus underneath the bed. Don't feel like you've got to conquer the entire bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, garage in one day. And of course, what is your energy level? Now, some of you here may be early morning people, so you can get up early in the morning and do certain tasks. Others of you may be late night people, so do those tasks when you have that energy. And last, making sure you just set aside time each day to tackle the small things. And the small things could be when you get those circulars in from stores that you don't shop at, putting it in the recycle. You get junk mail, you put it away. Or when you come home, you have a system by the front door for your shoes. It could be a shoe rack or a shoe, they call them shoe closets, shoe wardrobes, where you just put your shoes away. You have a place to put your keys. You actually hang your coat up when you come home. So it's just doing those little things. And also, something is possibly just disciplining yourself so that you, when you take possibly a pen and write it, then you put it back, whether it's in a drawer, in a pencil cup. You just don't set things aside. You discipline yourself to put things away because one, that is like the best way to really help you. One, clear the clutter and just stay on top of things. So any questions, any comments, pop them in the chat. Now, you may know this and may not, but 80% of the stuff we keep, we never reference again. 80%. And we were 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. You know, the sneakers, the jeans, the coat, the backpack, the pocketbook, whatever it is. 80% of the stuff we keep, we never reference again, which is why one of the things I always tell people is to purge first before you purchase. Because I know you may be looking at the garage, the basement, the attic, whatever the room is, and thinking, I need to go and I need to get a bunch of containers. Well, actually, just purge first. Get rid of what is unnecessary. And then the next thing you do is you actually go out and get, yeah, it's a wow. It's definitely a wow. But yes, yes. So it's the 80-20 rule. So think about that. Think about that when you start thinking about all the things. Because a lot of times we just keep things just because, because somebody gave it to us, etc. And we're going to talk about some of the reasons why we hold on to the stuff. So I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. So this is why we clutter. And I'm going to go through all of these. Now, of course, you probably heard about the hoarding. And the hoarding a lot of times is where people feel there's not enough. I remember a woman came to me and she had lived in another country and she came here and she said when she came here, she was just like hoarding stuff because in her mind, she was still in her country that she was born and raised in because it was things were so scarce. And she said her children had to say, hey, we're here now. You don't have to, there's an abundance of things. You don't have to hoard things. So sometimes it's just knowing that and knowing it's okay. But then I also talked about perfectionism. And perfectionism can prevent us as well. And that could be a reason we're cluttered because we feel like, you know what, I don't have the slim hangers that organize my closet. I don't have the cute labels. I don't have the label maker. I don't have. And do you know that there are people who are in my profession as organizers? Sometimes what they do is they will take a piece of tape, rip it right on the container in their homes. And at least it's organization is not about being neat. It's about being able to find things. So as long as you can find something the first time you look, that's what organization is. And then, of course, it's the sentimental. You know, you don't want to part with things because it reminds you of something. And I will make a confession to everyone here. It took me until I was 30 to get rid of my prom dress. Yes, I was 30 years old and I finally decided to get rid of it. And the reason was because throughout school, I wasn't a popular girl. I had the glasses, I was tall, I was thin, I got good grades, so I wasn't popular. But on my prom, I felt like I was popular. I wasn't the queen, but I just felt like one. So I was holding on to that. So sometimes it is just a release. And I don't like to rush people in that everybody's going to let go of things when they are ready. But it does feel good to be able to let go of that past, let go of that sentimental attachment, because I've got all the plenty of pictures to just prove where I was at. So then the laziness sometimes comes along because you just feel like, you know what, this project is going to take me forever. I'd rather do something. I'd rather just sit here and just curl up. But again, it's about breaking the project down, breaking it down to the point where, okay, I know I need to organize my bedroom, but you know what? I'm going to start with my dresser. The next time I'm going to do my side tables. The next time I'm going to tackle underneath that bed. Or even, you know, in your living room area. It might be the front door. It might be the closet. Maybe it's all the accessories to all the technology. But it's just about breaking things down. And then, of course, a lot of times we have a fear of just letting things go because what if we need them? Now, we've got wonderful technology. So if there's a piece of paper that you want to hold on to, you don't necessarily have to hold on to the physical piece of paper because you can scan it. So that always lets you know. You can always take pictures of things. So always look for an alternative so that, yes, I can free my home and my space of things. So think about that. And then the last reason is while we clutter, sometimes we just don't think we have the time. But you'd be surprised if you spend an hour a week, just 1 hour a week getting organized, you would have focused 52 hours by the end of the year. So 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. You'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. Because a lot of times people get so overwhelmed with shredding and they're like, Janet, I need a free shredding event. But if you shred things as they come in, it will make it a lot easier. And actually, one person shared that she actually gives that job to her daughter. So when she has like a little container, and when it gets to a certain point, she helps her get rid of things. So those are just some things that can kind of help you in regards to just understanding the hoarding, the perfectionism, being sentimental, lazy, fear, and of course, lack of time. Does any of that resonate with anybody here today? Because yes, you know, we can all, sometimes hoard and we don't even know it. If you grow up in a household where they save everything, somebody said yes. And it's sometimes just about changing the way you think about something. For example, you grew up in a household, someone said all of them. Okay, you grow up in a household where they save everything. For example, the margarine containers. Now, yes, I always say I'm aging myself because the little margarine containers with the cute little flowers on them. Well, you know, sometimes it's just about you're still going to use the margarine, but maybe there's a solution. Maybe instead of in the container, get the stick. Because once the stick is gone, it's gone. And even with perfectionism, it's about, okay, let me at least get rid of what I don't need. Because then what you do is, okay, I've already gotten rid of all the things. Maybe you've gotten rid of 50%, 20%, whatever. But at least you've gotten rid of what you don't need. And then you can go out and get what you want. The cute hangers, the cute containers. Because I always tell people, get rid of stuff first and then purge before you purchase. And yes, we do have things that are sentimental. I'm not here saying that you got to get rid of everything because I still have some yellow gloves that belong to my mom that I'll never wear and I want to keep them. But it's just about really being able to have the space to keep all the things without being overwhelmed. And in regards to fear, just specifically when it comes to paperwork and documentation. I always tell people to sit down with a tax professional as well as an attorney and really talk through what do I really need to keep? What do I need to hold on to? How long do I need to hold on to it? Because then that will give you a sense of how you can create a retention schedule for you and your family and how long you need to keep things so you don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, should I have thrown that away? Because yes, we do need to keep some things, but we can't keep everything. One woman told me she had 22 years worth of what were they, pay stubs. And I said, well, what about 22 years worth of, your W-2s, which is just basically a yearly summary? Because that's only 22 pieces of paper as opposed to how many weeks. So it's just thinking a little differently about all the things that we have. So how is everybody doing? Is everybody okay? I hope you're walking away with something. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself. And these are just simple questions. I mean, there's more questions, but there's lots of questions. The first thing is, what have I not used in the past year? What have you not used? Has it been, sometimes I still think of people, there's certain things like you might have the turkey plate or the holiday dishes or the seasonal. I understand those. But what are some of the things that year after year after year you have not used? And there's a trick that you may have seen it on the internet in regards to our clothes. And basically, how you normally would hang clothes in the closet on the hanger, you hang them in reverse. By doing that, every time you wear something, you hang it like you normally do. But maybe after 3 months, 6 months to a year, you realize there are clothes that the hangers are still facing you that you've never worn. And that might be a sign that, wait a minute, it's time to let go of those things. Could somebody else use it? Do you have something tucked away on a shelf in a room in a corner that's collecting dust that is brand new that you just for some reason just have decided not to use it anymore? Think about donating it, getting rid of it. And of course, does the item have a sentimental value? And it may. And I always like to encourage people with those items like that. When you know it has a sentimental value and you just are really not ready to let it go, and you probably don't even want to let it go because it does, is figure out a way maybe to repurpose it, use it again. I've seen people, one woman took a beautiful vase, a vase vase, and she loved it so much that now she just puts her remote controls in it and just puts it on the shelf near the TV. So it looks really nice because you don't really see the remote controls, but she knows what's in there. I've seen people take beautiful glass trays and use them in their bedroom because they don't want to part with them. I've seen people, reuse, repurpose jewelry. Uh, you know, I've seen people make jeans and a pocketbook. So there's so many different things. So, yes, it is good to let go of things, especially when you're ready to. But if there's things you're like, you know what, Janet, I'm just not ready to let it go, and figure out how you can repurpose it. But some other questions you should ask yourself, which I haven't listed here, can you fit something? Sometimes it's really good for us to be honest with ourselves. Can I fit something? And if you can't fit it, are you willing to do what it'll take to fit in it again? I mean, that's a question you need to ask yourself. You know, is it working? Is it current? Because sometimes we hold on to things. Someone told me once they had a book about computers dated 1999. And I was like, at this point, you really cannot learn anything new from that because, those computers that were made for that handbook are probably not even in existence anymore. And I don't even think you have one of those in your home. So just, begin to really kind of take yourself through this. Am I using it? Do I want it? Is it sentimental? And just kind of work through those questions. So, what are some of the questions that are coming through your mind of the stuff that's in your house? Or has something that you have in your house, maybe you haven't used it in the past year? Is it something coming to mind? What about, could somebody else use it? That, maybe you've got some lamps, and I just said lamps because a lot of times we have lamps, we have this, we have that. Someone once had, and also sometimes it's really taking yourself through, yes, all of it. Sometimes you have to take yourself through some questions. Someone was saving a high chair, and now the child that actually used the high chair is living in another state, in their probably 30s now. And so the next thing the person said, well, grandchildren. And my question to that was, when you do have grandchildren, just knowing how you and your husband are, I believe you're going to buy new stuff. And plus, because also we have to take into consideration, specifically when it comes to safety and children, is that, that thing, is it safe anymore? And I told her that's not safe anymore. That was safe back then, but now it's not safe anymore. So, begin to think about that thing and maybe challenge yourself. Maybe just challenge yourself like the one thing that I know somebody else could use, at least maybe within the next 30 days, because I would say by the end of the week, but I know how people's schedules are. But maybe within the next 30 days, I am going to give it to somebody. Give it a new home. Give it a new home. So, clearing the clutter in your home. And really with clearing the clutter, it's just really kind of tackling all of those spaces. And I don't want you to get like overwhelmed with that because there's a couple of ways you can actually clear the clutter. And I'm going to share with you a couple of ways. But first, if you are here and you're like, you know what, Janet, I need to actually organize just my entire house. Just first of all, breathe. And I always tell people to plan first. Just get out your tablet, get out your pen, get out your paper, and just kind of just go from room to room and just say, okay, I want the shoes by the door. I want the accessories in the living room, all the technology we have. I want to be able to see my kitchen countertop. I want to be able to find things underneath the bathroom. I want to be able to see the top of my dresser. Just start writing down. Once you have that list, then you go back and you prioritize. What's a priority to me? Maybe right now I want to have a smooth morning routine. Well, then that would mean maybe tackling the bathroom, tackling the bedroom. Or maybe I just want to come home. Every time I come home, I just want to just not see the pile of shoes. Or when we have family night, I don't want us trying to struggle and trying to figure out what goes to what and where is it. And if it's not in the box, where is it? And then, of course, once you do that, once you decide on the space, then it's time for just to roll up your sleeves and just kind of go through. And how you do that, I'm going to give you a couple of ways in order to do that. If it's a big space, and I'm talking like a garage, attic, a basement, always again, go in and just purge first. Get rid of what you can, whether it's trash, whether it's recycle, and take it to the next step, which means that if you have to, because some people do have to take their trash and recycles to a separate location, depending on where they live. But if not, just put it outside, make sure it's gone. So that's session number one. And that's how you break the project down. Then the next thing you do is you go in and you actually make sure that you kind of get rid of all the things you need to donate, you need to sell, you need to get rid of. You get rid of those things. So you already got rid of the trash. Now you're getting rid of the things you're no longer using. Maybe it's a tricycle in the corner from from your baby that used to ride around in the tricycle. Of course, now your baby actually has on a second car, so it's time to give it to somebody else. So once you've gotten rid of the trash, the recycles, once you've gotten rid of everything that needs to be donated, given away, then you have what's left. You can now organize, you can set up systems. So that's for your bigger space, but maybe you have something a little smaller. Maybe it's just a room. When you have 2 to 3 different types of things, and it's not a lot of categories, I always encourage people to purge first before they actually purge and categorize. So categorize and purge. So you want to categorize, you want to separate those categories. You want to separate the clothes, you want to separate the paper. Because by doing that, then when you go through all of the actual clothes, you realize I've got 5 white t-shirts. Or when you go through the paper, you realize you've got 20 copies of something that took place in 10 or 20 years ago. So when you have a couple of categories, just separate the categories, then go through because it makes it a lot easier. Because if you just kind of go through and back and forth, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but also sometimes you don't realize what you have and what you're keeping. So I hope those kind of strategies will help you really just kind of clear the clutter in your home. But what are some of the spaces you're thinking about that you want to tackle first when it comes to clearing the clutter? Is it a closet? Is it a bedroom? Is it a kitchen? Is it a bathroom? But you got to donate. You have to get rid of things as well. And begin. Remember, 80% of the stuff we keep, we never reference again. We were 20% of our clothes, 80% of the time. And also, one last thing is regards to storage. Storage units have a place. Because sometimes, you are in between. You're moving from one place, the next place isn't ready. So therefore, you need to put your things someplace. You may be getting floors. You may be doing some remodeling. You need to put your things someplace. But on average, people spend over $1,000 a year in storage. So therefore, if you have it, start going through maybe a box a month. Go through it and see what's in there. If you've got two storages, make a plan to maybe downsize to one, but just begin to go through those boxes of stuff so that you are not one spending $1,100 or more a year, but also so that nobody else has to really deal with that clutter. So think about that as well. So keep it simple. As I said, donate unused items, make time to get organized. And that means scheduling time in your calendar, but also putting things back because that's the simplest way to stay organized. And also that will create harmony in the home. So nobody's saying, well, where are the scissors? Where's the screwdriver? Where is this? Where is that? And then also, just in knowing when you are organizing, sometimes it's good just to do something as simple as sometimes getting rid of the duplicates. Like, how many sets of things do you actually need? Do you need two, three, four, five sets of measuring cups when maybe only a couple of sets will do? You know, Also, a good philosophy is when you bring something in your home, you take something out. It's kind of like a flow. It allows things. You're bringing something new in. So something that's going to get in the corner that you're not going to use, going to give it a new home. And then, of course, you know, always just making sure, again, putting things back. Put things back where they belong. So those are just some simple things that'll help you get organized. But again, I would like to know, what areas are you really thinking about right now? Now that we've been together for about 30 minutes, what are you thinking about? Like, what's going on in your mind? What questions do you have? Because I love answering questions. I love answering questions. But one of the things, because a lot of the questions I get, the closet. So I would definitely suggest that what you do is, first of all, decide what the end goal is. What is the end goal of the closet? Is it to, possibly, make room for things that cannot fit in the closet? Or is it just to kind of get rid of things that, you're no longer wearing? Is it to make it a little bit more functional? Begin to just kind of think and begin to think about not only where you are, but also where you're going. And for example, one client, she wanted her closet organized, but she also was retiring. So therefore, she had to mentally let go of all, and she was a principal. So she had to mentally let go of all the suits and the sneakers that she would wear because she had the suit because she was the principal, but she also had the sneakers because she was the principal. And it was letting go because I'm like, you don't need those anymore because of where you are, but you're now enjoying retirement. Some people, they've gone to the place where, because they're doing more hybrid and remote work, no longer need suits anymore. So kind of think about those things as well when you are organizing your closet. And also, do you wear a lot of separates? Does your closet maybe need to be modified for that? as well, because some people, they do wear more separates than they do, dresses and things like that. And also, how do you want your shoes organized? Maybe you do want them in containers, but some people like them on shelves. And are there any other things like accessories, as handbags? I mean, this is a lot, but those are just some of the things. And it's really kind of like, is there a closet that you've seen that you like? Because it really kind of has all the things that you wear in it. So therefore, just kind of give yourself some ideas as well. And there's so many different ideas that you can find out there on social media. So I do hope that helps as well. But also, just knowing that when you do get a system, it changes. We have a system when we're in our 20s, then when we move to 30s, then when we move to 40s and 50 plus. So we have those different types of organizational systems because we just want things a little bit more accessible. We may not, as we, get older and retire, we may not have as many suits. So we have other different things. But also know that as your life situation changes, single, married, partnership, kids, dog, teenagers, then all of a sudden they're in college, you're downsizing, you're empty nesters, all of those are changes. So each change in your life, you're going to need a different system. So, what may work in your 20s when it's just you is not going to work in your 40s when you've got like children and a dog and a spouse and a partner. So, it's kind of just like thinking about, okay, what is my life now? But what is it going to be like now? Someone shared with me something that was very profound. She said that she realized her clutter, even though she wanted to kind of get things organized, she began to see how it was impacting everyone else. And that was the motivator she needed in order to get everything that she needed to get organized, and call in the help she needed and buy the shelving she needed. So for her, that was it. So sometimes it's something that, oh, I want a smooth morning routine. Well, if you want a smooth morning routine, then what do you need to do? Do you need to organize the bathroom? Do you need to have the closet organized? Or maybe you've decided, you know what, I want to be healthier. Okay, you want to be healthier. So do you need space in your home in order to exercise? Or do you just want your kitchen functional because now, you really want to be able to get in that kitchen and just cook up a storm? But also, getting organized saves you time and it saves you money, specifically a lot of times when it comes to products, because we will have products in the kitchen and the bathroom. And unfortunately, sometimes they get so caught up in a corner and a shelf, we forget about it. So, it'll reduce our stress because again, when you find something the first time you look, or when somebody wants something that, nobody's yelling and trying, where is the so and so? Those are just some things that can really help you really move forward. So, again, donate things you don't use, make time to get organized, and definitely put things away. But I do want to kind of just share one more thing in regards to the perspective of the organizer. And because a lot of times when people do call someone in, like myself, they do a cleaning. And you don't And I tell people, don't clean because I really need to see. Because I want all of you here to begin to, before you even just start saying, oh gosh, this needs to be organized, that needs to be organized. I want you to go and look at your space differently. I want you to look at it and see, how do I function? Because yes, you may come home and kick your shoes off. So for me, if I see a pile of shoes by the door, I know instantly there needs to be a shoe rack. Or if somebody wants to come in and they want to hang their bag, put their keys, put their hat, whatever, then there needs to be a system by the door that allows them to do that. Someone shared with me that she said her husband just throws stuff all over the place. And I says, well, what does he need? She says, well, he likes to put his keys here. He likes to put his hat here. Get a couple of hooks, and I'm sure that will help him. Or, you know, I know people who, because of whether they've got back problems or other things, how they put things on shelves. And speaking of which, a lazy Susan can do wonders in the bathroom, just like it can in the kitchen, because it will allow you to find whatever it is you need the first time, and it'll make it a lot more accessible for you. So maybe you do need things on the counters because of how accessible you need things. But then sometimes you may want things in cabinets, in drawers. Think about that as well. How do you want your dresser to look? Maybe it does have a lot of different things on there, but is it because you don't know how, you're not putting things away? Or is it because maybe you need to downsize? Maybe you need to think of a different system? I went through so many different systems in regards to jewelry. I had a jewelry box. Then I thought, well, you know what? This is just not working. So then I got the cute little bags that you hung up in the closet. That didn't work either until finally I realized I need jewelry trays that I can put in a drawer. And it just does something different when I can open the drawer and see all of my jewelry. So it's just about thinking about what will work for you and what will help you feel organized and feel also in control of your stuff. So, are there any questions, any comments? Please let me know. And I hope you've been enjoying this. I do hope you have been enjoying this session this evening. So, before you go, and then before I actually open it up, just to kind of ask, answer any of your questions, I just wanted to let all of you here to know that I have lots of resources. I have the podcast, Got Clutter, Get Organized, which is weekly. I love it. And then, of course, I've got the newsletter. It comes out monthly with organizing tips, product recommendations. And then, of course, there's the Facebook group, Living Life Totally Organized. I am going to put all of those links in the chat for you, just in case you do want to take advantage of, the podcast. And then, of course, if you are not on my mailing list, I definitely would like to suggest that you actually add your name to the mailing list, because everyone here this evening, if you're not, or if you are on my mailing list, you will definitely get a copy of the recording. Definitely get a copy of the recording this evening. So that's why I was recording that. So I wanted to share that with you as well. And then, of course, for those of you who may need a little extra help, I've got to Get Your Affairs in Order kit. And basically, that was something I decided to create because I just realized that a lot of times the important documents that we have, sometimes you should organize them. So not only you, but somebody else can find them. So it's just a booklet, plus it has also the labels, which you can print out, and you can organize all those important documents. And of course, the kit will also, if you would like, you can have a session with me as well. Of course, I also have virtual life organizing sessions, as well as home and office strategy sessions. And I will be doing another webinar, so just stay tuned to social media. And of course, if you're on the mailing list, you'll get information. The next one will just be focusing on paperwork. That will be in June. And it's going to just how to master personal organization. All of that paperwork, that some of it we must keep, and also we have to keep it organized just in case somebody else has to find it, or we need to find it for some reason whatsoever. And as I said, organizing is a journey, it's not a destination. So even if you do get organized this year, just know that at some point you're going to be looking at that system and like, you know what, this system is not working for me anymore. I need something a little different. You may want to add, baskets and containers, or you may decide, I don't need labels anymore. So just be okay. Organizing is a journey and it is not a destination. So, of course, this is my contact information. If you should need to reach out with me, there's my number, of course, my email address if you have any questions. And of course, you can reach me at my, on Instagram, on TikTok, as well as I have a YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out as well. So at this time, I am actually going to start taking any questions. If you have any questions in regards to the presentation,